Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg-Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another episode of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. This episode is one of a series that we feature in celebration of our 20th anniversary and throughout a year-long Youth Summit series of events, but more on that later. This morning, I want to talk to you about the fact that there is nothing more gratifying for a parent than seeing one's baby grow into a healthy, happy child and young adult. Healthcare professionals have identified certain milestones that are indicative of healthy growth. When a parent, caregiver, or doctor determines that a child is not meeting those milestones in those important first 3 years of life, there are services and supports that can make a crucial difference in the long-term development of the child and their ability to start school on an even footing with their peers. In Broward, we are so fortunate to have the Children's Diagnostic and Treatment Center's Early Steps program with early intervention teams that work with families to create goals and priorities for their child and design a plan of care. Here with me today to share information about the Early Steps program are Ellie Schrot, Director of Early Steps, Audrey Evans, Family Resource Specialist with Early Steps, who actually began her association with the organization as a client, and parents Emmanuelle, Josma, and Paulina Alvarez. Thank you all for joining us today. Ellie, I want to start with you. I've known you a long time, and I know how passionate you are about this program. So can you please explain a little bit more about Early Steps for our audience?
Sure. Thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate the opportunity to get out the word about Early Steps. It's a statewide program for children with handicapping conditions and disabilities from birth to 36 months of age. And our passion here in Broward County is early identification. We get about, just in Broward County alone, about 4,000 referrals each and every year. So we want to make sure we engage all of the community to make referrals. Pediatricians, families, really anyone can make a referral. We want to bring the children in then quickly to get the eligibility evaluation and then get them connected with early intervention services. Those could include speech therapy, occupational therapy, early intervention sessions, and so on. The beauty of Early Steps is there's no income criteria and there's no out-of-pocket expenses for families. So our mission is get families identified, get them engaged. Service coordination is available, and every family has a service coordinator help them navigate not only through Early Steps, but for other services they may need to help support their child. The focus is families. We want to support families as their child grows and learns and develops and meets those milestones that Ms. Arenberg talked about. I want to introduce you to our wonderful family resource specialist, Audrey Evans. We've worked together for many, many years. I have the utmost respect for her and the work she does to support families, to engage families, and to do outreach in Broward County. So, Miss Audrey, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Miss Ellie, and thank you, Miss Cindy, for having me today. As part of Early Steps, I'm excited to let the families know what we do here. I am the Family Resource Specialist, and what I love about it is that my position required that I be a parent of a child in the Early Steps program. Isn't that great? So that's the uniqueness of my position in a sense, but I'm also an advocate for our parents. I want to know what they need, and I try to make sure that they get it. One of the major things that I do to support the families is to find out what they need, what services their children are getting, and how I can make sure that they're continuing to be a participant in their child's development, because we don't want them to just drop the child off. We want to make sure that this is a parent model program, and we want the parents to be engaged. And another thing is that each Early Steps program has a family resource specialist. So that is very important. And I do outreach. I go out in the community to different community resource fairs. I go to childcare centers, even in the supermarket. If I see a little funkiness going on, every child is different. But when you're in the family of special needs, you can notice some of the little things that children are experiencing that a parent would overlook and think it's normal. And I just tap the mom and say, I know a program that you may be interested in. So early detection is so important. Early detection is so important. If you even think that there might be something going on with your child, call Early Steps. Call Child Find, because Child Find is our central intake agency that will take your referral and get it to us. We want the parents and the children especially to start early. My journey with Early Steps started with my daughter out of the NICU at Broward Health now, Broward Health Hospital. She was preemie, and I had no idea that I would need all the services that I received with Early Steps. But I'm telling you, when I got here, they really showed me some love. Because I tell people all the time, I was not a compliant parent at first because I was too busy with my other two children. I was a single mom, doing everything, being everything for everyone. And then they said, no, this little one has vision issues. She may lose her sight if you don't get the services. Because I was like, I'll take her next week. I'll take her. They were like, no, Mom, you're going to take her now. So I had a great family resource specialist. I mean, I had a great resource specialist, but also I had a great service coordinator that was like, Miss Evans, unless you want her to lose her sight, don't do it. And now she's 30 years old. She graduated from University of Central Florida, and she works in IT. Who knew that she would allow me to get this job? So our children do grow up. And I also have an adopted 10-year-old now. He's nonverbal, he's autistic, and he goes to, he's in middle school. He's getting ready to go to, he's in elementary school rather. He's getting ready to go to middle school. Okay, imagine that. When I first brought him to Early Steps, that baby could not hold his head up. They told me how many things he wouldn't do. But no, with the services we received at Early Steps and continue to receive once he left with the school board, and he has an IEP now, he's doing amazing things. So don't believe the hype. When we say we're going to help you, we are going to help you. And your children will grow up. So early detection is important. If you have a question, just ask it. There's no question that we won't try to answer for you. And I tell people, if I don't know, I'm going to find out.
Audrey, you are definitely a story of encouragement, I think, to families, I'm sure. Families who may be hesitant, and we've seen that at times. But we have two parents with us today who actually took the initiative and were concerned. Paulina, let me start with you. Tell us how you got connected with Early Steps.
So I got connected with Early Steps when my son was 15 months old and he was still not walking. I brought the concerns to the pediatrician and she gave me the referral to Early Steps.
So that's great. You noticed that there was something going on and you took the initiative to talk to your pediatrician. And what happened when you got connected with Early Steps?
So I got connected with Early Steps right away. They called me within the week, I want to say. Then we scheduled a consultation where we met with, I believe it was four people of your team, and they did a whole consultation and they review my case and they set up the services right away. And we started with a therapist twice a week, right away. And it's been a year and a half now.
And you've seen progress with your child, I understand.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. He's already walking, running, doing everything motor wise. We're still in the process of helping him with the verbal part. He's still nonverbal, but he has learned to communicate his needs. He has learned to be more social. He is more aware of his environment. He is progressing every single day.
That's fantastic.
More services have been added since the first consultation. Every 6 months, we do have an evaluation to see where we are and if anything else is needed. He has been needing more services, and everything has been provided by you guys.
I'm going to come back to you in a minute because I want to talk about
Okay.
your son must be nearing transitioning out of early steps into that next phase. But before we get there, I want to bring Miss Emmanuelle into the conversation because her entry into early steps was a little bit different, but she was brave enough to talk to a friend. Miss
Yes.
Emmanuelle, can you talk about your story, please?
My son has 16 months, he can work in, he can talk, he can do nothing. But my friend told me, why you don't call early step? I say, I don't know about early step. And he gave it the phone number. When I call, I have contact with us guy, and you told me you come a week. And after a week, you called me, and we got everything in month, and she not have services. They don't take too long for Shana.
That's wonderful. Now, for those first 16 months, did your doctor never notice that something was happening? Or that your son, I think you said, wasn't
Yes.
developing on time?
Yes. When I talk to Shana doctor, they say, it's normal, it's normal, it's normal. But my friend said, no, you can say that it's not normal. You can call early step because I have same services with my daughter. They help me a lot. When I contact you guys, I see the difference now.
So that's a really important message, I think, for our audience to understand. You know your child, and many parents, I think some of you have multiple children. Audrey, you mentioned that 30 years ago, you had at that time 3 children. So you did know a little bit about how a child should develop, correct?
Yes. And she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. She was when she came out of the NICU, we had the evaluation. And then once she started growing, she was bumping into things. At first, you thought, oh, it's funny. But then when I realized she wasn't seeing, and I asked the doctor, well, what's going on? And they said, oh, I said, well, she's here. She sees me. He says, no, mommy, she's hearing you. So she was going towards the sound and not towards the sight. And then early stepped in and kept helping me with vision services. And it was amazing. I'm so grateful to them.
So Ellie, that's really an important message for parents, right? You do need to listen to your pediatrician, but you also need to be your child's advocate and look at other children. What would you want parents to understand about that?
Well, the beauty of early steps, not only in Broward County, but across the state of Florida, is that anyone can call and make a referral. And we always encourage families. It's a win-win situation. If you have a concern, please call. We will do a developmental screening. We'll do a full assessment in all 5 domains of development. And the other wonderful thing is, even at that first evaluation, Cindy, if they're not eligible at that moment, we always leave the door open. We explain to families what are the next steps in the development of your little one. And if they're not reaching those milestones, please call us back. And the wonderful thing is they do. So I'm very happy about that. Again, we want to make sure families engage with us and don't be afraid to call. If families need a shoulder to cry on or someone to really support them, Audrey Evans gets that.
Call me. I'm your girl.
That's right.
Give them your number, Audrey. Just
My number here at Children Diagnostic and Treatment Center is 954-728-1029.
Thank you.
And Cindy, may I just jump in real quick and
Sure.
tell families where they can call to make a referral? If they're hearing this and they're thinking, well, maybe that would be a good thing to give it a try. I have some concerns about my child. The number through Child Find, which is part of the School Board of Broward County, is 754-321-7200.
And you have a lot of eyes on your children for the people, I hope. You've got your own, you've got your family, you've got your pediatrician, you've got your friends. Your child care center can also be really helpful here. They're supposed to be doing developmental screenings. And if they put up a flag that there's an issue, please don't be afraid. We have a lot of parents where the child care center will say, this is something you need to follow up on. And then they don't do it because they're afraid. There's no shame in this. No shame at all. Look, Miss Audrey is like the nicest person ever. Miss Ellie's okay. No, she's wonderful. They have a great team there to support you. Ellie, I want to go back to Paulina for a moment, because if I was doing the math correctly in my head, her child is soon going to be hitting that end of the road for early steps. So what happens next for her?
So we have a wonderful relationship with the School Board of Broward County, the pre-K program for little ones from 3 to 5. So we actually spend from age 2.5 to 3 getting ready for transition if the family wishes to the School Board of Broward County for continuation of services. So we have a very smooth process to move children when they graduate from the Part C. It's called Part C under the Individuals Disability Education Act under Early Steps, to the Part B program, which is part of the School Board of Broward County. So we have a smooth transition. They do their intake, they work with the family and make that happen in a timely manner by the 3rd birthday.
Paulina, you know that? Are you good?
Yes. We're actually in the process of doing that. We are getting ready with all his therapists and all his current providers to transition to the new program.
Excellent. So what would you say to other parents of infants and toddlers? What would you want them to know now about this?
There is hope in this whole process. Early help is the key. Early intervention is the key. You, like you mentioned, as a parent, we know. Even if it's scary, if you want to be in denial, you know, when you look at your child, you know what's going on. The best way to help them is get people who are trained to do this. Do not be afraid. This is completely beneficial. It is a holistic approach to the problem that your child is having at the moment. And it is the best thing you can do for them. Make a call, just get in contact. There is hope, and the guidance that you get with this program is second to none. They walk you through the whole process. You're never alone. They're constantly following up on you. Your child has a lot of eyes, and sometimes as moms or parents, we don't have anybody looking out for us. It is hard on you because you feel that it is your fault when it's not. You've done everything that you can for your child. And this program has that. They call you, they follow up on you, and they don't only help your child, they help you as a whole, as a family. So it is very important. Do not wait. And early intervention is the best thing because it's going to correct what is going on right now, and it's going to prevent any further problems in the future.
I think Miss Audrey's heart is bursting with joy right now. Miss
I love
Emmanuelle,
Audrey.
what would you like other parents to know? What guidance would you give them? Go ahead.
Same, my friend do it for me. I can tell them call, because early step help me and my son, they can help them too. Don't be afraid. You need to call.
Did you face challenges in your community, within your culture, about getting help? Because I think that is sometimes a barrier for families. Was there any cultural pushback from family and friends for bringing in early steps?
Yes.
But have they warmed up to it as they see the progress that your child is making?
Yes, they see my family, because before that early step, she not can talk and can work. Anything he want, he can point his finger But now he can ask me. He can talk now to when he needs something. He can say, "Mommy, I need this." Even the he not speak very well, but I understand now. But before that, I can print in figure. But now he can ask me something now.
That's
Have a
wonderful. I do know that sometimes families can get in the way. They think we need to keep this quiet. We don't want anybody outside our little circle to know that there's a problem. As Paulina or somebody said earlier, it's not your fault. There's no shame in this. Miss Audrey, I think you spoke a little bit about that. And how do you help families recognize that there's no shame in getting support?
Well, I support my parents. I want them to know that when they come to us, they're in the right place at the right time to get the services their child needs. Okay. And that there's nothing that they did to be in this situation, but going forward, now that we're here, we're going to do all we can for you. And we're not just dealing with the child. Like we said, we're a family center program. We want the parents to know that they have power. They are part of this, they are part of the information that the clients need, that the therapists need. They are a part of the team. Let me get it right. Okay.
Oh, you're perfect.
Parent, you are the team member and you are the cheerleader. You're the advocate. And you're the go-to. You're the best of all. Your input is so important. When you feel something, say something. You don't have to wait for them to tell you. And when you don't understand, say, can you repeat that for me? I don't quite understand. Because in this arena, they have acronyms, IEP, IFSP, the ST. Okay, so I'm gonna back up. ST, speech therapist, PT, physical therapist, OT, occupational therapist. These are things you're going to hear and you're going to be like, what are they talking another language? It's okay to say, I don't know what that is. Okay. And you're a part of the team.
Well, and one could argue you're the captain of the team.
Absolutely.
The professionals don't want
You're
to
the
take
main point
over.
of contact.
They're not looking to be your child's parent. And they, I believe, are trying to put themselves out of a job with your family. Right, Ellie?
Absolutely.
Their goal is to teach you how to help your child
Yes.
and then to have your child reach their milestones.
Absolutely. I tell the parents 10 extra minutes each day, and once in the morning, once in the afternoon, after your therapy, is going to encourage and improve your child's outcome than waiting for the therapist to come once every week for 60 minutes. So you're going to be on duty, honey. You're going to be the Judy on duty. Get it.
Well, and the other thing, Cindy, that's important is that the early intervention professionals in the community, we have close to 400 now working in Broward County, helping families, but it's their job to embed those strategies within the daily routines of the family.
Yes.
So we're not asking families to become a speech therapist, but we're explaining what can they do at mealtime? What can they do at bath time? What can they do at playtime to implement the strategies that speech therapist has taught them to do? Because we know the repetition of that work will result in very good and positive outcomes for the children. So family engagement, family participation, enhancing family competencies is really what Early Steps is all about.
So we have only about 2 minutes left. Who has a final thought that they'd like to offer our viewers?
Cindy, may I just jump in? We touched a little bit on the multicultural, and I did want to mention Early Steps works very hard here in Broward County to make sure we have not only service providers in the community that are multilingual, but also our staff. Our service coordinators and the assessment team are multilingual. I actually made a list. I just started looking at the providers in our community. What are the languages? Spanish, Creole, Italian, Arabic, Romanian, Urdu, Hebrew, French, Portuguese, and that was just on the first couple pages. So, so we really work hard to match the family with the providers that can really meet their needs, and communicate with them in a way that results obviously in good outcomes. So I did want to mention that as well.
That is so important, Ellie. And although I could talk to you all for hours, I'm afraid we've come to the end of the show. So I just want you all to know that if there is any reason whatsoever to suspect that your infant or your friend's child is not meeting their developmental milestones, please reach out to Early Steps through Child Find. Every day counts in this stage of a baby's development. I want to thank Ellie Schrot, Audrey Evans, Emmanuelle, Josma, and Paulina Alvarez for talking to us about Early Steps and why it's so important to take advantage of its services when they're needed. As I mentioned earlier, this program is part of a series of episodes centered around our Youth Summit series and celebrating 20 years of the CSC as the backbone of community collaboratives that improve the lives of children and families. You can find information on the Youth Summit series and related community events on our website, cscbroward.org/Youth Summit. I've been your host, Cindy Arenberg-Seltzer. For this or any other episode of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children, go to our website, cscbroward.org, where you can access our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.